Hi. So today we're going to be talking about something a little different. It's not a topic I want to talk about, but since USA Today has done a story on it and Rolling Stone has done a story on it, and then last night Stephen Colbert mentioned in his monologue, I now feel obligated as a person who has a channel about bisexuality to talk about it. And what is that? It is Quincy Jones outing a couple of famous people about being bisexual. And I got a lot of feelings on this for multiple reasons, and probably for the reasons I'm sure for reasons you don't get yet. So let me explain it. So this is what happened. Quincy Jones, who you all may not know, he is a legendary music producer. He produced Michael Jackson's most famous albums, Thriller, Bad, Off the Wall. He has one of the best-selling singles of all time in We Are the World. He is a legend. He's taken people from obscureness to made them stars. He's super rich, and he has a lot of celebrity fans. But now he's 84 years old, and he's decided that he is just going to talk about the gossip and all the things that he knows from his life. And he did this in an article on vulture.com. So you can go ahead, there's a link to it in the description. You can go ahead and read it there. Now, I have a problem with this article. Why do I have a problem with this article? For multiple reasons. Okay, so Quincy Jones starts off talking about Michael Jackson, of course, and he talks about how Michael Jackson stole music, and he talked about how Michael Jackson was greedy, and he talks about later how the Beatles were horrible musicians and stuff like that. So he's just willing to say whatever, right? And early on in the article, he states this. He says, and I quote, "All I've ever done is tell the truth. I've got nothing to be scared of, man." Okay, that's fair. He's 84 years old. Fine. You got nothing to be scared of. All you do is tell the truth. Okay, fine. But here's the problem. So you, Quincy Jones, decided to put some people who weren't out about being bisexual on blast about being bisexual. Let's talk about that here. So he said that Marlon Brando had sex with James Baldwin, Marvin Gaye, and Richard Pryor. And honestly, some of you guys are young, so you probably don't know who that is, so I'll quickly explain who that is, who all those people are. Marlon Brando is this like legendary actor. Like he was in the movie Godfather, if you heard of that, where he played the Godfather, and he was in the movie called Apocalypse Now, which was super famous. And then On the Waterfront and Screechar Named Desire. And back then, he was like this guy that every woman wanted to have sex with, right? But later on in his life, he came out as bisexual. So that wasn't really a big surprise. James Baldwin is an author from the 70s, 60s, and he was open about being bisexual too, so that's not a big deal. But Marvin Gaye and Richard Pryor never came out as about being bisexual. Marvin Gaye is this super famous R&B singer who like changed the direction of R&B during the 60s and a little bit in the 70s. I guess a little bit in the 80s too. But he had like his last name is he was born G-A-Y, but he changed it to G-A-Y-E because he had to deal with gay rumors from when he was young. So there was always an issue with that in his life. But then Richard Pryor, it just basically never came up. And Quincy Jones, and all these people are dead, by the way, but Quincy Jones in this article decided to just out Marvin Gaye and Richard Pryor about being bisexual. And I got some serious mixed feelings about this. Why? On one end, okay, the only way we'll know about people being bisexual is if, perhaps after the people die, people who know them share about them and their life. So, okay, so this is how we know stuff. And then after Quincy Jones said this, Richard Pryor's widow came out and said, yeah, he was open about being bisexual, and he wrote a lot about it in his diaries. In fact, I'm going to publish his diaries, and you'll be able to see on that. So, okay, so we progressed because of that. So once you think, okay, well, Quincy Jones did a good thing by putting these bisexuals on blast. But did he? Because there is one piece of information about Quincy Jones that you all don't know, which I do, which makes me go, he started out this story on vulture.com saying this: all I've ever done is tell the truth. I've got nothing to be scared of, man. And in other articles, he talks about all the women he's had sex with and how they were all just throwing themselves at him. And he even talks about in this article how he had, he was He dated Ivanka Trump, who was 49 years younger than him. And he just like always talks about, him and women and all this stuff. And now he puts bisexuals out on blast that may not have wanted to be put on blast about being bisexual. And he's talking about how all he's ever done is tell the truth. And yet, I got to ask Mr. Quincy Jones, if you always tell the truth, well, tell me this. Are you bisexual? And I'll tell you why I asked that question, because I live in Los Angeles, and I've lived in Los Angeles for a while. And if you live in Los Angeles and you have really attractive friends, like really, really attractive friends, then you learn things about celebrities. Why? Because celebrities love dating beautiful people. And if you happen to have a friend who is really attractive and gay, guess what? You learn a lot of things about the men in Hollywood. And I'll ask you this, Quincy Jones. Have you ever had sex with a man multiple times? And then as they're taking a shower, as they're singing in the shower, tell them that they had a beautiful voice. Mr. Quincy Jones, you say that all I have ever done is tell the truth. You've said that I've got nothing to be scared of, man. Then answer me this. Are you bisexual? That shouldn't be a hard question, right? You have either had sex with men or you haven't. Either you've had sex with this person who name I could say, but he probably doesn't want his name mentioned, so I won't say it, or you haven't. In fact, it probably wouldn't even make any sense for me to say the person's name, because if you had sex with him at age 70, you're 84 now, at age 70, that probably wasn't the first guy you had sex with, and you probably don't remember very many names. But if you're willing to put other people on blast for being bisexual, and then you're willing to say, all I've ever done is tell the truth, then let me ask you one more time, Mr. Quincy Jones. Mr. Quincy Jones, are you bisexual? If you'd like to push the progress of humanity forward, why not share that story as opposed to sharing the stories of other people? If you're willing to talk about all these other people's lives and how they steal music and how they're horrible musicians and all these other things, how about sharing that aspect of your life that you might not be the proudest of, but has the impact of pushing society forward? So I ask you one more time, Mr. Quincy Jones. Mr. Quincy Jones, are you bisexual? So, you all who are watching this, what do you think? Do you think it's okay for someone to talk about someone else's bisexuality after they have died? This has happened a number of times, and oftentimes this is the only way we find out about a person being bisexual, as if friends who knew them talk about them after they've passed on. Do you think it's right for someone to be closeted while blasting other people's sexuality? Now, I think it's completely different because there are a lot of bisexual men in Hollywood. There's a lot of very, very famous men who are bisexual in Hollywood, but they go about their life. They stay in the closet. They don't get themselves in situations where they're talking about other people's sex lives. They just go about and do their life. Sometimes they go and do things privately to help LGBT organizations. They just go about their life. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about someone who is willing to out other people while bragging about all the women that they have slept with out throughout their life and whatnot. So this is a topic that's probably going to come up a couple of times on this channel. And it's important for us to chat about this, to figure out where that moral line is. So what do you think? Is there anything wrong with putting someone else on blast after they're passed away? Is there anything wrong with putting someone on blast who is still alive and can defend themselves? Or do you have just a different opinion altogether? Let me know. And if you'd like to support this channel and what we do here, you can check out my t-shirts on Amazon. I have many t-shirts and they come in short sleeve, long sleeve, sweatshirts, and hoodies. I also have lapel pins, and I am a bisexual romance author, so you can check out my bisexual romances. all in the links in the description below. If you'd like to support this channel, you could also give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. I do many videos on bisexual topic, and I try to do them on a regular basis, usually on a Sunday. But if you'd like to know when a new video comes out, you can click on that subscribe button and then click on the bell. And by doing that, you will be letting YouTube know that you'd like to know when a new video comes out. And until the next video, stay cooler, my bisexual friends. And Quincy Jones. Stay cooler. Bye.